Hi, welcome to Think Human. I'm Chris, and in this video I want to talk about critical thinking and intellectual honesty. So if we wish to truly know the world and to know the world honestly, then these are some of the things we really have to do. We have to have some form of critical thought and intellectual honesty. For example, if someone walks up to you at the street and let's say you are sick and someone walks up to the street and they give you a pill and they're like, if you buy this pill for me, this pill fixes everything that's wrong with you. Now, are you gonna be like, yeah, how much? I'll give you $100 for the pill. I wanna be, I wanna feel good. I wanna be healthy. Or do you ask this guy some question like, what does the pill do? How does this pill work? Where did you get it? What's the mechanism of action? Do you have any reports of science that it works on anyone? What's the history of it? Is it natural or synthetic? And you go on and on and on. And this is the way how you get to the bottom of it. Don't take anyone's word. Even if you hear someone speaking that's like really smart and knowledgeable in one field, they might absolutely not know what they're talking about some other field. And this is how a lot of misinformation gets spread because of scientific authority. People who are already in these positions where they're considered intellectuals and really smart, and then people take their word without questioning them. That is bad if we really want to get closer to the truth. What we need is honesty with ourselves. We should not look at the world and believe things that we want to believe just because it makes us feel good. Like people believe that, ghosts exist or afterlife or whatever just because it makes them feel good. If you want to be honest with yourself and if you really want to know about the world, the truth about the world, if there is anything true in the world, if we can at least get closer to the truth, then we have to be honest. Not what we want to be true about the world, but what really is true about the world. And we have to put aside all of our biases, all our hopes and our wants, what we as human beings want the world to be. And we have to grow up in a kind of way to really look at the world how it really is and accept that and be happy with how the world is and deal with this new reality that we get. Because believing in some things that might make us feel good but aren't actually true don't really help us except some kind of minuscule psychological support, which I guess some people might need, but really if you're looking for truth in the world, then those are the things we kind of have to give up, and it might be painful and difficult at first, and there's so many things we as human beings believe because these beliefs make us feel good, even if there's no real basis to them. And that's fine. I'm not trying to take away anyone's beliefs about something. That's fine if you have it, but then don't go around telling people that you know some kind of ultimate truth or that you know something that other people don't if you haven't gone through the process of actually trying to figure out what's the bottom of it all, what's the actual truth. We can't be emotional about it. We have to look at it from a side and put our egos aside and our wants and needs aside and to look at the world. What do we actually see? What's the actual observation? What's it telling us? And then our experience is way richer for that. We can live more truthful lives and we can make much better decisions in the world and we can go further and we can get way closer to the actual truth of the world, if there even is anything called truth, but at least we can get closer in that way. So our own egos, our own biases, our own hopes, we have to put aside if we truly want to learn about the world. We should question everything, even our most closest held beliefs. It's not easy, and at first it seems kind of difficult because we all have some kind of comfort zone built around us, some kind of things that we believe, and I don't think we should tear down everything. Like me, myself, a lot of really smart people, everyone has something that they might believe that isn't necessarily true, but if we're talking about the actual world that we live in, then we really need to question everything and every belief that we really hold. And this shouldn't be a kind of a sad process or kind of depressing or anything like that, but it should be empowering and enlightening. For some time ago, for me, that kind of a change happened. It used to be, when I was really young, it used to be that I wanted to be right. I wanted to be right. I wanted what I said to be right and people to believe me or whatever. But then as more I learned and the more I knew about the world, that was replaced. That was replaced by me wanting to actually know the truth. So you wanting to be right has to be thrown out. And what remains is that you want the actual truth. Then you don't get offended by what people say. Then you don't get into silly arguments about nothing because your own personal beliefs and faiths are holding you back from actually discovering what is truth. People get so offended by some things that they should not get offended about, things that are scientific fact. So once we begin to really understand the basis of all this, like once we begin to separate what we want the world to be and what the world actually is, we understand that we shouldn't have any kind of personal biases and wants and wishes that we secretly keep, that we want the world to be a certain way. We should embrace the world as it is, because the world is way more wonderful, beautiful and incredible than a lot of people can even imagine. And so it shouldn't be, you should never feel sad when you're wrong. You should be excited, because that's an opportunity to learn something new. I am very excited when even something that I've believed my whole life and something tells me I'm wrong, I'm like, damn, I had no idea. But I'm happy now because I know better. And this is a healthy attitude. And this stops us from being too competitive and being offended by some kind of things we should not be offended by, which is the actual reality, objective truth. There is only one real version of that. We only have one sun, not two, not 10, not 100, and we can't argue over that. We can't argue over how the sun works, or how photosynthesis works, or how our brains are composed of. Like, these are not things to argue about, but a lot of people do get offended about these kind of things. So just separating our own personal stuff and the actual real world, and to be excited about what actually the real world has in it. Not, again, I said it so many times in this video, but not what we want the world to be, but what the world actually is. And that is the fascinating discovery. And once we sort of really get into this kind of mindset, then you are free. Then you're free to absolutely explore the world. And that's the best way to learn. If you really want to know what reality is, get even any way closer to that, this is the way to do it. So I hope you got some ideas from it. If you have any comments, please leave them down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and take care.